Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be giving you a bit of a mini demo of Pendo. To give you some introduction, my name is Laura Vancosky. I'm an account executive with Pendo. I've been with Pendo for about 2 years, and I work on our corporate account executive sales team. I'm excited to take you through just like a brief overview of some of the features and functionality and value that Pendo can bring to your product, success, marketing, as well as revenue teams. I'm going to jump right in and move through some of the key parts. Before I get started, just to give you an introduction on what Pendo is a product cloud, a product experience platform. There's a number of different ways that the Pendo platform can be used, but the two key pieces that create the product cloud are our product analytics, product insights, as you'll see here on the left, combined with our product actions. So this allows you to understand what is happening inside your product, positive as well as negative, where there might be areas of friction, potential bottlenecks, as well as what healthy, successful customers look like, what they're engaging with in your product that's resulting in this positive sentiment, renewal, increase in adoption, and then take all these insights that you're getting from your users and their actions and combine that with a way to take action with in-app guidance and messaging. This allows you to take these areas of friction and bottlenecks and put in some type of communication for your users or information to avoid the negative results that come from that, or to direct new users or, ongoing training for existing users to improve their behavior, to point them and direct them to the pieces of your product that are going to be the most valuable, as well as behaviors that are going to result in renewal. So those are the two key pieces that of how Pendo works together to create this product cloud. I'm going to jump over into the actual Pendo environment to give you a good idea of what some of this looks like. And we won't have time in this brief demo to cover everything today, but I'll just give you some highlights. So as we get started, this is the Pendo snippet. It's about 30 lines of JavaScript. This is what you actually would copy paste into your web application. We have different installs for mobile applications. We have mobile SDKs. This will be focused primarily on web apps. The snippet here are some key points. It takes usually one engineer between 30 minutes to an hour to install. From the point of install, Pendo is capturing all of the events that your users are doing inside of your product, every feature click, every page load, so that you can understand what they're doing in a retroactive fashion. So we call this retroactive analytics. From the point the snippet is installed in your application, we're collecting all of that. So that means you don't have to know now what you're going to care about in 6 months. Say that you forget to tag a navigation button, a help button, any button in your product or any page in your product. You can go in and tag it at any time, and Pendo will surface all of that historical data into the UI. You can also pass us in the snippet some metadata fields here. You can see we've got after the visitor and after account. There's some examples, email, full name, role. For the account level, you can pass account name, plan level, plan price, any of the metadata that you send is up to you, whatever you know about your users that might be useful for slicing and dicing your data, as well as deploying and serving guidance to your users. You can have as many metadata fields as you want. You can change them if you need to. The only thing you have to send to us is a unique ID here for your visitor. This could be an email address, it could be a username, it could be a UUID, whatever you want it to be, but just so that Pendo has a way to identify your unique users. Now that we've gone through how Pendo is installed, I'll show you a little bit about what you can do in the product area of Pendo. From the product button here, you can see we've got some options for pages, features, track events, product areas. Features in Pendo are really any elements in your product that your users can click on. So these are going to be, you can see here, navigation buttons, as well as actions in your product to complete different tasks and activities. Since we define all of these different buttons in your product as features, some features might be things like navigation, but there might be areas of your product that are considered more core events, things that you might want to pull above the noise. You can tag these as core events inside of Pendo and will identify them, and you can sort by them as well. There's other really cool ways that you can use this core events tag to report and look at different features, but we'll highlight that a little bit more later as well. Tagging features in your app is really different with Pendo than it is with traditional instrumented analytics tools. You actually do it inside your application visually. So you click this Manage Features in App button up here. It's going to give you this area to drop in the URL that you want to load the Pendo designer on top of. So imagine that this is your URL. The Pendo experience is just our demo environment. You can launch the designer. It is going to load the Pendo designer on top of your product. Pendo is this white box and this black bar at the bottom. Everything else is just a demo application, the Acme CRM. So it's a fake CRM. To tag features, you just navigate to the tag feature button. Pendo is going to go into target mode, which allows you to look at your product and identify, without using any engineering or coding or instrumented tagging, to identify what's clickable, select it, and tag it. So let's say we want to tag this Add New button here at the top. All you have to do is hover over it. You can see Pendo has identified the entire element, select it, and it's going to give us the tag feature modal. This is where you're going to just tell Pendo what you want to call it to surface the information and historical data into the UI. We've captured everything automatically when that snippet was installed, but this is going to give you a way to surface it. So this would probably be something like Add New, maybe Dashboard. You can assign it to a product area as well. This is helpful for understanding different paths and flows through your product. So this one, Dashboard, probably a good area. You can see we've automatically selected the CSS selector and we are good to go. Click Save and you are done. That's how easy it is to tag with Pendo. Pretty simple, pretty quick. Pages work very similarly. You name the page, assign it to a product area. You can also choose to wildcard out different parts of the URL. Maybe you have a staging server or dynamic parts of your URL that might change for different users. Or different, versions of the page that they're on. You can choose to wildcard out different sections of the URL. I'm going to head back into the Pendo UI. You can see we've got a top-down view of just all the features in Pendo. This gives you some really cool quick wins into how the product, your product is being used. Sorting number of clicks shows you areas that aren't being used at all versus areas that are very heavily used. Before I move on to some other areas of Pendo, I think it's important to highlight this filter bar up here. You'll see this in most pages in Pendo. This is how you can flip between applications, web apps, mobile apps, or specific environments. You can sort to just one specific account here, change the date range that you want to look at, as well as this first option here, which is Pendo's segmentation feature. This is probably one of our most powerful filtration tools from this high-level view of different areas of your product. And one of the coolest things Pendo can do. So when you create a segment, you're basically creating a series of and/or rules that are building cohorts or groups of users. This could be as specific as visitor ID equals whatever that unique user's ID is, or it can be any of the other metadata that you're passing into us through the snippet, through your CRM, as well as product usage. And you can combine these all together. So maybe we want to look at just a group of users where their role type is admin, and we want to include the usage of a specific feature. So we want to look at our admin users that have never used this specific cloud logo feature ever. You can also change it to within the last maybe 30 days. And you can look at these specific groups of users. You can build guides for these users. And it can be as specific as you want or as broad as you want. It's totally up to you. Once you save or once you name the segment in Pendo, you just click Create Segment, and it's going to be available to you across the rest of the product as well. So say we wanted to look at just our admin users, top down how they're using features here. We can add the admins segment, and we can see all of the usage of all of our features for just that group of users. There's some other really awesome analytics inside of Pendo that you can look at for how your users are using your product. Funnels are really great. Funnels are a way to look at a certain prescriptive path set of steps that a user needs to go through to achieve a certain result. In our demo CRM, one of the examples is creating a report. So we want to know how our users are moving from these very specific steps they need to do, navigating to this page, selecting these buttons, and then clicking save. We can see here down at the bottom how people are moving through all 4 of these steps. Pretty good through step 3 with some major drop off at step 4. It looks like only about 6% of people actually completed the final step, which is just click save. So that tells me as a product manager that there might be a bit of confusion here, more than likely just a bit of user error. Our users are not remembering to click save. I use a CRM all the time. I can imagine how frustrating it would be, but this is a great way to get around this area of frustration that you might not be hearing directly from your users, but you can identify here. Maybe we need to put in a tooltip, a badge, an icon, some way to remind our users, maybe the first 5 or 10 times that they use this feature, to just remember to click save. And then you can look at how that increases over time, how it improves, and how it's impacting your users' behavior. We also have a way, if you want more of an open-ended sort of question, how are my users navigating to or from a certain place or feature in my application? You can do that with paths. So if we wanted to look at maybe what our users are doing before they click the help button, we can set the help button as the feature that all of the steps are leading to. So we can see the help button as the final step. We can see that primarily 63% of our users are requesting help from the accounts page. And then we can start to dig into why that might be. Another way that I've seen paths used a lot in the past is just wanting to know what users are doing just from a certain point when they log in or from a dashboard type of page. And this example is showing cross-app paths. So imagine the red kind of tangerine color is a web app, the blue is a mobile app. We can select into here and see, okay, our users are starting on our web app, navigating to our mobile app. We can dig in and see when they might be leaving one environment for the other, or bouncing back and forth to a specific piece of the product, looking for something that they're not necessarily finding. And you can be very specific, dig all the way down into the very last user's very last activity. There's a ton of other features available for behavioral analytics that we won't have time to get into necessarily today, but I do want to highlight the product engagement score. This is something really new and awesome with Pendo. Ties the adoption of your core features with the stickiness of your product and what your growth looks like to give you an overall engagement score of your product, as well as how it's trending over time, which is a really interesting way to get a good idea of how all 3 of these things are working together to put the best product in front of your customers. Once you start to understand a lot about what's happening in your product, how people are using it, what they're doing right, where they might be getting stuck, then you're going to start to have ideas around like, okay, how can we fix this? What can we do to impact this behavior? And that's where Pendo's guides come in. Back here in the demo environment, we've got some fun examples of guides. This one, for example, is an example of an onboarding guide, kind of a choose your own adventure situation. Your users can navigate and move through the different areas of the product, can show them how to complete specific activities, kind of a learn by doing situation. This would be adding an opportunity that's actually going to have them interact with the different pieces of the product to complete this desired activity. This is just going to build that really positive usage behavior from the beginning. Another interesting thing you can do is badge and icon guides. You'll see them a lot inside of Pendo because we definitely drink our own champagne. But for example, this new button here could be a segmented tooltip guide that's triggered by a badge. So this new is actually Pendo sitting on top of this demo environment. It could be whatever you want. This is just an example. Maybe we have this new set to be segmented and shown to our users that have not used this add new button at least maybe 5 times. So on the 5th time, the new button will go away, but until they've adopted the usage of this, we're going to keep it up here. If we click on this new button, it actually launches a little tooltip that has a GIF of exactly how this activity works. So the users can see what's happening. And then when they open the actual button, they can see exactly what we've just showed them. Guidance with Pendo allows you to create these really delightful experiences for your users. You can offer up information, services to them, can help upsell and present new areas of your product. This is just a tooltip that's going to allow you to schedule a call. This button is going to launch a Calendly link. Maybe that's for a specific CSM or a specific person on the revenue team. This one here is going to have some help documentation. Maybe we've seen some confusion around this feature. We're going to give a little tooltip here that allows people to ask for help without having to, say, submit a ticket. This is one of my favorites. In here, we have an example of an anniversary guide. This is something that I really love. This is just a really, really sweet way to acknowledge your users and to create this like treat of an experience. Hey, happy first anniversary, and get some feedback from them. Like, how are you doing? What have you done with our product this year that you loved? Which can be a great way to open up conversations. Guidance in Pendo is so customizable and flexible. It can be done without any engineering resources. Can also tie the effects of guides to the usage of your users in this really iterative process to understand how to better and continue to drive all of the positive experiences that so many of your users have. That's pretty much all we have time for today. There's so much more to Pendo and so many more exciting things. If you want to learn more, I really recommend reaching out to someone on the Pendo team or navigating to the demo button on our site. We'd love to get you connected with somebody to learn a little bit more and talk through how Pendo could potentially line up and specifically help your team achieve your business goals and initiatives as well. Thank you guys so much for your time and patience. It was great to share this with everyone. I look forward to hopefully talking to all of you soon. Thanks so much. Have a great day.